I came to San Francisco by the age of 5. We landed in Pocahontas, Arkansas in 1978. 1 year later, my family of 5 consists of mom, dad, sister, and brother, all live with 20 people under the same roof in Springfield, Illinois. In 1980, with 10 people and 2 cars, we drove for a week to make our trek to California or Go Mountain. That was to be called our home. Our journey out into the wilderness has never been so much at stake. Driving with 10 members of our extended family, my uncle stood at the cliff overlooking the highway entrance of California. He breathed a sign of relief. Our 4 year journey out of Vietnam during the hyperinflation days, during the post war days, were over. We made it. The old mountain of gold, as many dream profess of having to get hold of. There were many a bit of tears of joy and sorrow in my uncle's eye. I remember how he took a breath of air and the awe of overlooking the cliff to see the spread of Gold Mountain, awestruck of a possibility. Never would I imagine that I would overlook all the members as a forerunner of the pack. As the possibility of I, Twitter Master of X, being the first man to spearhead worldwide constitution, I smiled and ducked my head to work. Looking at IU's YouTube short on eating a sponge cake, I became bewildered. That is it. The very big thing I aim for is the little things I come to appreciate. We slept over in a tenderloin with one of our boat family of survivors, aka the boat people. A week later, my family rented a beat down barbershop. It was barely legally deemed a living space, yet we have shelter. Of course, in reciprocity, the landlord could squeeze about $200 a month from us in the streets of Richmond district of San Francisco. My uncle rented a place in Oakland. Those two rentals started our dual axis of family stronghold to this very day. In other words, the apartment complex my uncle purchased in 1988 and the house we bought in Portola neighborhood in 1989 are the permanent residents of our extended family. Many of our cousins who got married and had multiple wonderful kids moved out of the original housing of the dual foundation house. My mom passed away in March of 2021 on my 52nd birthday on September 23rd, 2024, or a day over the last of IU's concert in South Korea. Our extended family, David No from Mississippi, passed away, along with Chloe's mom, are all in heaven with watchful eyes of me being the beholder of the 8 axis of female superpower. In this consequential media, I will traverse the sceneries of the Bay Area. The geographies embedded in my media will expand to all areas all over the world. That will be your watch backdrop of every expanding fan of Global 911. Happy smiles get happy times. I'm shy to admit, being 52 years of age, I never traveled anywhere. It was 2005 that my mom took me to a trip in Thailand. It was a memory I will never forget. I took a snapshot of a nice Thai girl who had started our encounter as a masseuse. I literally professed during that time that I might pursue my effort to marry her. On the circumstance that followed, she slipped out of my forethought of good fortune. There will be many places that I will post as my watchful eyes catches glimpse of the new frontier I am about to make. Los Angeles scenery. Here I go. The $3 million headquarters of Petrobet David. Why not? To North Korea, where I will drop the dirt cheap, low cost drug prices coming from Lex Freeman and Mark Cuban to the President Kim Jong Un. Let's go. In going places, let us not forget the neighbors, shops, and tourist spots we can all adopt to love. Let me start from the hometown of San Francisco. McDonald's in Stania, McDonald's on Alameda, San Francisco Center, the Emporium, Chrissy Fields, and Welcoming Center of San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. When my mom gave a green light to put all her savings into the down payment for a new house in 1987, I was still a junior in George Washington High School. It was another bold move on her part. The very decision that got her the house was something my father hesitated. It was a gutsy move. My mom and one of her good friends had to go to the probate court to hear if there was any other bidder. As memory served me well, she could not eat or sleep for a week. She was the only bidder. The house on Silver Avenue lasted today where I'm typing this document. It has 3 bedrooms. The Bottom has a large garage. Because our house is seated in a tilted slope of a hill, the front garage has a high profile. The back has a low profile. However, it was still enough to hold us to add an in-law. The background was full of grass. McDonald's on Stanton Street, 1989 to 1991. My first step into the shops of San Francisco came in my junior year. I was routinely beaten and bullied in the 44 bus. There was one time where a bunch of kids used a cigarette lighter to burn my friend's hair. Luckily, the bullying did not leave me a permanent scar. As time passed during my adult life, however, I saw it was a fork point where I had to drove a car as early age as possible. As a result, I had to get an after school job. As soon as I was capable to be able to drive legally, my uncle forfeited his beat up Pontiac for me. My first day of driving a car with my brother to George Washington High School was both exhilarating and scary. My foray into driving that beat up Pontiac to head to McDonald's in Stanley Street McDonald. As it is in 2020 or year after COVID, that McDonald has been closed. I came upon McDonald's on Alameda only in recent years in 2024 after driving Uber for 10 years. As top Uber driver for 10 years since 2014, I had landed on my McDonald's and especially the one on Alameda ever since. I would think which McDonald's has our Vice President Kamala Harris has worked briefly in the summer of days of Alameda. The one day I might get to reach her and ask, but for now I would have to ponder the origin of my mindset thoughts. That would also add if she had anything to do with the interview with, like Anne Rice's interview with the vampire. The tense moment as I stood before the microphone was easier than I thought. San Francisco Center, 1990. My first after-school job was to sell shoes in Foot Locker. The next year, I worked in Herman selling sports goods store equipment. The two jobs were still all within the vicinity of Market Street of San Francisco. The two jobs made me awkward. However, they primed me to be the master of salesmanship of arts. I never saw the fruition of the fortune that was imposed upon me because of my sales skills up until 2024. The day I stood in front of the panel of judges to be inducted as part of grand jury was a priceless experience. I fathomed the height of my success. It was a silent moment that was met a match that gave me the courage and power to pursue. When the beagle has landed, you are met with silence. Year 1989 from the dining area of the McDonald's in Stanton Street, where I drove that Pontiac with a quick pickup of a few of my friends. I ate lunch for the next year for my impending senior year, for which the ones where I caught senioritis. Being a senior out of high school, my stance in life was feeble. As I took my first step in the stairs of City College of San Francisco with Gary Lamb, who had been friends with me since my elementary days, I got scared. Yet, as I remember, I drove to McDonald's for the first time in 1990 during the junior years in high school. If success is an emotional state, then perhaps I can climb the upper stairs of life. When a beagle is handed, you are met with silence. San Francisco cable cars have two edge terminals. The first is on Powell Street, just next to the San Francisco Center. The second one is in the other land toward the north side of the San Francisco. It is where Fisherman's Wharf is located. The cable cars route has long been a staple of San Francisco income, as a street that ventures into vertical line on a half of 7 by 7 mile or 3.5 mile into the bay that allows the seniors, the swim team to tread the waters to Alcatraz and be amused with a smirk, a place where I call home for the last 47 years. The cable car is a staple of San Francisco and my life. Lowell High School, 1991. My foray into adventures as a driver started at McDonald's on Stanton Street. My next stop was Lowell High School, where I picked up a prearranged prom for my high school prom. Eventually, I was able to get a job in Foot Locker. Because I had a car, I was able to be flexible. I got to drive to other Foot Lockers on Mission Street to help them out to pre-open the stores. I even got to drive all the way to Corte Madera to help them pre-open the store Foot Locker on that city. In the next section, I will merge the people I met with the sceneries of San Francisco. Being a top Uber driver for 10 years, by the time the year 2024 hit, I had 43,429 rides. With all the scenes off, my F-thoughts had the peripheral vision of my eyes. I smell wonderment and awe of landscape that traverses all sides of me as I drop passenger for the hard days of work. To steal time shamelessly, there must be a facility for you to the San Francisco cable car have two edge terminals. The first is on Powell Street, just next to the San Francisco Center. The second one's on the other hand of the north side of San Francisco. It is Fisherman's Wharf. The cable Ghost route has long been a staple of San Francisco income. As a street that ventures in the vertical line a half of 7 by 7 miles or 3.5 miles into the bay that allows the seniors of the swim team to tread water to Alcatraz and be views of the smart. A place where I had called home for the last 47 years, the cable car is a staple of my life. As the stores of urban legend goes, more people get money out of the injuries while riding on the cable car than tickets being sold. Whether injuries were intentional or not, I do not know, nor the Chamber of Commerce of San Francisco knows. The first experience where I encountered Powell Street was during my senior year in high school. With the expense of owning a beat up hatchback car of the same name, Pontiac, I had to get to after school job. Sure enough, I landed on selling shoes in Foot Locker. The strip polyester black and white shirt made me rich itch. I liked it. It made me feel different from an hours. However, I was making around $4.20 an hour, which was the minimum wage at the time. I could be the stuff urban legends are made of. However, from what I was told, cable car has its tale of controversy. People climb onto it, and despite its inherent dangers and imminent fall as they dangle and protrude their body and extremities outward, they take a selfie for a smile. Many people also felt intentionally to collect the injury fees. Standing in the Bank America terminal where I took out cash for a hard day's work in Foot Locker from 1990 to 1992, I dove myself in abundance pursuit of a workplace culture that had a list of jobs I could curtailed. The very shop next to San Francisco Center, however, it was closed in 1996 or 5 years after I graduated from 2012, or the last year I worked in Six Flags, as my financial situation was spiraling out of dire control. I had to find a job in San Francisco to stabilize my days of life. The first thing I did was to talk to Chris Lindstrom. We met in Toastmasters starting in 2006, or 2 years before I folded the job in Cornerware due to impending implosion of the company due to lack of money stream funneling into the company. In 2006, I met the demise of Cornerware for the fire sale, which each employee will get a $30,000 each year. I did not make the. Therefore, in 2012, after I signed papers with Chris Lindstrom, the human resource of ceremony for it, the deal was I worked from 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. as parts runner. I was able to volunteer as a piano teacher assistant for City College of San Francisco. Finally, having a stable income as I worked all hours around the clock, I took a bow as a piano teacher in YMCA. That particular YMCA was in Tenderloin, or about 4 blocks away from the San Francisco Center. Walking back to San Francisco Center, I remember the vibrance of my youth as I wore the itchy polyester shirt to sell shoes. Did you know the Grand Center of San Francisco from the late 1950s was the Emporium? It was standing very next to San Francisco Center. Fortunately, it was closed in 1996. According to the book City by the Bay by Charles A. Francia, the Emporium was the kaleidoscope of venerable shops, preceded an array of options for San Francisco. I smile as I stand in the Bank of America ATM just across from San Francisco Emporium and the old site of the Emporium, the start of a cable car road at the roundabout, where tourists loop around the circle to climb up to the cable stroller for a thrill ride worth of voluminous air of intake through the lungs capacity all tourists get to intake. Toward the end of Marina, the landfill underneath the neighborhood was feeble, as demonstrated by the Loma Prieta earthquake of 1989. At the center of Marina is Crescent View. Your breath could only be taken as you struck in awe by the vibrant living hours of North Bay in San Francisco, where people meet, live, and exercise, eat, and socialize. All those are poor amenities seem to overlook. It is only if you have been driving Uber for 10 years that you can appreciate a marble marina and Quincy views to its fullest. Pushing time toward 2012, to where I spent 4 years working at Six Flags. At a time, minimum wage was $8.50 an hour in Vallejo. My credit card was getting maxed out. My expense situation was spiraling out of control. Somehow, my instinct embedded in with my guts, I had to make the music thing work. The best possible path forward was to take a class in piano and then volunteer as a piano teacher. It was in 2012, or 2 years into my stint as a volunteer teaching assistant, that I could squeeze a moment of time to dabble a new venture to teach piano in YMCA. I was just browsing the ads in YMCA. That stint only lasted 3 months before eventually I was emerged into surviving reality of life, so I had to quit. Working in YMCA in 2012.